From Seattle is Brian Sheley. He's the managing director for Cascade Asia Advisors, a consulting firm there. Brian, welcome to the show. I want to ask you this Indonesia question you heard there earlier. I mean, it's done well. There's bigger plans. Let's start with the positives. What does Indonesia have going for it?
Well, I think the president's achieved quite a bit, actually. If you look at the numbers, 6% growth since 2010, with the exception of last quarter. That's certainly impressive. Poverty, unemployment rates have plummeted. You heard the numbers just a moment ago. Market trend line has increased for the past 5 years. I think the numbers are quite impressive, to be honest.
So what's the flip side of that? What are the concerns? I mean, Andy was talking about potential slowdown, some of the global issues, domestic issues. What's the chief concern?
Chief concern, I would say, yes, the backdrop of the global economic situation. I think also the policy situation there. I mean, there's been some very concerning policies coming out of Jakarta over the past 18 months, perhaps longer. I think you look at things like a trade minister who imposes some pretty concerning trade restrictions that impacts multiple different industries. I think you also look at things like the education ministry and the recent news coming out of the energy ministry with the corruption that's happening there. A lot of the corruption that's happening in Indonesia has originated in the past term from the president's party. So I think that there's definitely policies, but also these activities that are just very concerning.
This corruption issue. I mean, this is a big deal. And it's not just Indonesia, to be fair. It happens in developed and developing countries around the world. But there is one difference, that Indonesia has counted on foreign direct investment for a long time. In the last couple of years, that has been a very big spike. This corruption issue, could it go the way of India, where it becomes such a big problem that foreign investors say, wait a minute, I got to think twice about coming here? Can Indonesia overcome that?
I think it can. I think it has to start. I think it has a very healthy anti-graft program going. The KPK is what it's called locally. They're doing a great job. Its scope and its effectiveness is sometimes limited by invested interest. I think, just the other day we found out that SKK Migas, the oil and gas regulator, the president of that, or the chairman of that group, was found to have been engaging in corruption. I think that's the first significant foray into investigation that the KPK, this anti-graft body, has done. And I think that is encouraging. I think it's encouraging a lot of foreign investors that it's in an industry such as the energy industry, a space where Indonesia derives substantial profits from, and where a lot of foreign investment is actually done.
Brian Sheley with Mount Rainier and the Space Needle there behind you. I want to thank you very much for joining us live from Seattle. Have a good weekend. Coming up next.